What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren, and I know we're all still recovering from X-Men 97 Episode 5, but Marvel Studios, in true Marvel Studios fashion, has dropped a mid-season trailer, giving us a lot of insight as to what is to come in the future of X-Men 97. We also have seemingly figured out who is behind the entire attack. Plus, not to mention, they have revealed a huge cameo that is going to pop up in an episode of X-Men 97, probably who Theo James is voicing. We heard long before that Theo James is going to be voicing a fan favorite in X-Men 97. Now, that character has not been revealed yet, but it looks like they did reveal that character in this trailer. So let's dive into it. But if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the X-Men 97 videos and also regular Marvel videos to keep you up to date on the MCU. We're also doing a giveaway, more on that at the end. So right away, let's just dive into the cameo that they have teased in this trailer before breaking down the rest. Now, this is very clear. Right here, we see Captain America's shield. Clearly, no doubt about it, it's even thrown, and it sticks into the ground. It makes the classic shield noise when it does that. So it looks like Captain America is going to be joining the X-Men at some point in time. Now again, since Theo James was already confirmed to be voicing a fan favorite character in X-Men 97, we are assuming that this is that character. So hopefully this is the case. However, I do also hope this means that more cameos are coming. Perhaps this isn't just a Captain America cameo teased here, but perhaps it's an Avengers tease. Now, I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. I haven't heard anything about this. It very well could just be Captain America, but Captain America is a part of the Avengers, and the X-Men are clearly going to war. That is the title of this trailer that Marvel Studios released. So it's entirely possible that the Avengers, Captain America, Iron Man, the rest of them, saw what happened at Genosha. So they are coming to the X-Men's aid. They want to fight the good fight with them. Now, whether that's Captain America or just the Avengers, that's probably what is happening here. But the other option is the reverse of this. They could go to the Avengers and ask them for help. Either way, it's confirmed. We are getting Captain America and hopefully some other Avengers and other cameos as well. And I know a lot of people are already asking this, what about Spider-Man? Is it possible to have an epic Spider-Man crossover? And I would say yes, since we see Captain America's shield here, it's entirely possible, especially with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the animated series coming out this year as well. Though they are not the same Spider-Man. Those are going to be two different Spider-Man. Spider-Man, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, will be a completely different thing from Spider-Man, the animated series. It also will not be a part of the MCU. It's a completely different universe, in case you were wondering. But of course, the great news is we have it confirmed that we're at least getting Captain America, which is epic on its own. So let me know how excited you are about this, and let's dive into the rest of the trailer. So I think this trailer might be, and I specify might because it's just a theory of mine, but I think it might be a little misleading because I still believe that Cable can undo everything by going back in time again to an earlier point and evacuating Genosha. I still believe there's a war coming because I believe Cable will only prevent the deaths of a lot of mutants, including, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen episode 5, including Gambit. Remember the name. And of course, Magneto, the Morlocks, and everybody else that died. We had a lot of casualties. But that does not prevent the war. That does not destroy the huge sentinel that comes in. It only prevents certain people from dying, and hopefully a lot of people. The attack on Genosha will still happen if Cable comes back in time and evacuates the city. He can warn people, but it's still going to happen. From there, the war still begins. That is the start of the war, and we seemingly know who's behind it now thanks to this trailer. We see that Trask is back, and we also see that Mr. Sinister is back as well. Now, what's interesting is that the footage that we see of Trask is actually from episode 1, when they find him and Master Mold and the other Sentinels in the desert. However, the line he is saying is new. He says, while you X-Men have been holding hands, we've been placing dominoes. Now, we do have a line from Mr. Sinister as well. However, this is an old line from episode 3. It's actually kind of chopped up a little bit. In this trailer, he says, if only you knew the future that we have in store, when in reality in episode 3, he's looking at the baby of Madeline and Scott, Nathan Summers, who goes on to become Cable, who tries to warn his mother, Madeline, in episode 5. In that line, he says, if only Xavier's orphans knew what we had in store. So clearly he was up to something, and Cable, Nathan Summers, was supposed to be the key to his plans. However, that did not work out, obviously. But it seemed like Plannister had a plan B, and that plan B seems to be Trask. And that also makes sense because who could break Trask out of jail? Remember, he was captured at the end of episode 1, so he's being held right now. So that begs the question, how could he possibly come back? Well, who else hates the X-Men and the mutants? Well, Sinister does. So it does make sense that Sinister and Trask would team up. With both of their resources combined, they could produce a Master Sentinel, which we saw in episode 5. Plus, not to mention, its energy, all of the beams that we saw were green. And that reminds me of the fluid that he put Nathan Summers in episode 3, that green fluid that eventually became the technovirus that he got. He actually got it because he came out of this liquid too soon. And this does remind me of the energy beams that were shot from this Master Sentinel. The three-headed one from episode 5, I'll just refer to it as the Master Sentinel from here on out. And as we saw, it takes a lot to destroy this thing. It literally took it stabbing Gambit and him powering up the entire thing, killing himself in the process, to destroy it. Magneto went at it full force and could not stop it. In fact, his magnetic powers weren't even enough to save himself with a protective barrier. So this is powers that the Sentinels really haven't had before. They've never been that strong. Even in episode 1, the X-Men managed to take them down relatively easily. So this Master Sentinel is on a completely different level. It's gotten some upgrades, and I believe those have come from Mr. Sinister. Plus, not to mention, we've really heard that Sinister is indeed the villain of X-Men 97, of season 1 at least. We know there will be a season 2 and hopefully a season 3. Now, something to point out is that I don't believe Mr. Sinister hates all mutants or the entire mutant species. I simply think he wants to make it exactly what he wants it to be. That's what he was trying to do with the baby of Jean and Madeline. In fact, that is the entire reason that he clones Jean, because he believed that the DNA of Cyclops and Jean Grey could create the ultimate mutant. So I don't think necessarily he wants to get rid of the entire mutant species, but he knows that the X-Men and all of the mutants will get in his way. And again, his plans have already failed once, so now he's teaming up with Trask. It would make sense that Trask would come back because they also want to keep the Sentinels in season 1 as well. The Sentinels are fantastic. They're one of the biggest threats to the X-Men. And all of the scenes with the Sentinels so far have been absolutely amazing, including the battle with the Master Sentinel, who released a bunch of other Sentinels. And this is proof right here that Trask is behind it with Mr. Sinister, because there is no way Mr. Sinister on his own could produce that many Sentinels. So it's very clear that they have set up another factory somewhere producing all of these Sentinels, and they also made this Master Sentinel as well. So with what we believe is Trask and Mr. Sinister teaming up, no wonder the X-Men will need the Avengers, or at least one specific Avenger, Captain America. Now again, this trailer opens up with Cable warning his mother and everybody else trying to evacuate the city, which is another indicator that Cable is going to play a really big role in the upcoming episode. So I believe he can reverse some of this. He can't stop the war, but he can stop certain characters like Gambit and Magneto from being killed. Plus, not to mention, we see Nightcrawler fighting in this new trailer, and although it didn't really say he was killed in the last one, in fact, Gambit said he was still alive, he was in very critical condition. So he could have recovered, but also he might not have ever gotten hurt if Gambit comes back and actually warns people in time and they're able to get away. I hope that's the case. I hope Gambit comes back. I hope Magneto comes back, but go ahead and let me know what you think in the comments down below, and let me know how excited you are for at least Captain America to show up. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date on X-Men 97 and the MCU. And if you subscribe and leave a comment, you're entered in our giveaway for a chance to win a PS5 or Xbox Series X. The winner picks one item, and we pick one winner at the end of each month. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.